much time we have a want, so the gun for us drop out of the palm, you know. His Imperial Majesty's work, a sizzler, so that when I put it down now.
The People Station, the People Station. Genesis FM. Genesis Station. Educating the younger generation. Shots almighty. We are the People Station.
Oh my goodness, what would I do without Genesis?
Genesis FM.
Hi, it's Sylvia Fella, and I tune into Genesis because they reach.
We are the People Station. We are the People Station. We are the People Station. We are Genesis FM. Genesis FM. London.
Hello and welcome to Radioland Boxing with Genesis FM, the undisputed champ. Oh, good uppercut from Genesis. Oh my word, Power Jam's power's been cut off. WNK are coming forward. And WNK are in trouble. WNK's been taken. And it's a tremendous fight with Baseline FM. Baseline FM throws the rabbit punch. Oh, straight right from Genesis. And Baseline has reduced the treble in this arena tonight. It's all over. There's a lot of punching in that corner. Paradise is putting up a fight. Paradise is in misery. Paradise has been taken. It's absolutely amazing. Genesis getting in on the inside with the fast punches and... what a left hook from Genesis. And Galaxy's in a black hole at the moment. Oh, there's a straight driving jab and kisses mouth and kisses out. Absolutely great body shots from Genesis. Oh my word, choice is no choice. The corner's thrown in the tower. What a disaster. Harrison headshots from Genesis. Oh, no, Skyline needs a helpline. What a beating. Oh, the power that Genesis jab. Iron FM doesn't feel sorry now. They're out. Thumping right hook and Lightning's blown a fuse. They've been taken. Ryan's still in the Harley shuffle. Vibes and all sorts of problems now. That's not the vibe out again. And Radio 1's gone. Radio 2's out. Radio 3's hurt. Radio 4's been bored out. Genesis stalking like a civilized savage. And Capital Radio's running from London. I gotta say, what an extraordinary opponent. Road Girls FM is stumbling about in a daze. Genesis has such a new look on his face. A great one to rock that is rocking violently from that jab. Call the doctor. It's all over.
Genesis Radio, the undisputed number one champ. So much energy, I just don't know where to start. Who there? Rip off. Rip your off. Who the shit?
Yeah, you're in tune to the People's Talk Show. It's Jools and the Doctah X. You know what I'm saying? We're up for it. Jools is having something to eat there now, so I'll be hanging around for a bit. Yeah. What should we do with today then? Yeah. What should we throw up? What should we throw up? What should we throw out on the airways so the people them can like? Hold on. We've got a call already. Yeah. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi. Just before you start your show, I thought I'd catch you early because I have to go out.
Okay.
Okay. My name's Dionne from Camberwell.
Okay.
And I'd like to send a dedication out to Commissioner and his family. I want to thank him for the trip that he arranged to Ghana.
Okay.
I want to thank him for the inspiration. And it was a marvellous trip, and thank him very much for all his hard work.
Okay.
It was well worth going, and I recommend it to everybody because you need to go to actually understand yourself.
Okay. Thanks a lot. What's your name, sorry? Dionne?
Dionne from Camberwell.
Camberwell, okay,
I
thanks
have got other issues that I wanted to talk about, but because I have to go out, I'll try and catch you.
Well, throw up one and let me talk about it then.
Well, it's a bit of a criticism, actually.
Okay, go on.
Okay, I've been listening to the show for the past 2 weeks, and what I feel is that there's too much noise. Okay, when people are talking, like you're doing now, you're listening to me. If you try and talk over people, it gets distorted.
Okay.
And another thing is that you need to call out the number more often, the phone number, because some people don't switch on straight away. Some people switch on halfway through your show.
Okay.
They want to participate, but they can't because you're not calling out the phone number. Okay.
Nice.
But I do miss Commissioner on a Sunday, and I don't know why he's not there doing his usual talk show.
Well, this is not Commissioner's show. This is a people's talk show. And
Yeah.
we've got different presenters who do the talk show. Commissioner's
Okay,
got a
but-
show.
Yeah, I know. I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is that from the time that I tuned into Genesis Radio on a Sunday for the past year and a half, it was always Commissioner that was presenting the show, and then I listened to you at 10 o'clock on a Saturday evening and thought your show was quite interesting.
It's a different type of show, though.
Yeah, I understand. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, continue with the good work, but just try and listen to people first before speaking over them, because you know what happens? You don't realise how bad that sounds when you're on the air listening, because last week I had to turn the radio off because it was just too much noise in my head. All right?
Yeah,
so
that's cool.
Have a nice show, okay?
Thanks for that, yeah?
You're welcome.
All right,
Big
then.
up, Commissioner. Bye.
Okay, bye. Yeah, well, there goes one out for Commissioner. Yeah, you know, thanks for that. He's saying, if you're listening, Commissioner, if you're coming in or whatever, you get what I'm saying? They say you're being missed on a Sunday. I think that's him, actually. But it's all good, you know what I'm saying? This is, you know, she's saying it's a bit of a Christian, Dionne saying it's a bit of a criticism, but, you know, I think people's entitled to their opinions and, you know what I'm saying, how they view things. You get what I'm saying? It's all good. You get what I'm saying? What was I saying? Yeah, so, I mean, like, yeah, it gets like that sometimes, I suppose, because I suppose people want to say stuff and you want to say stuff, and it gets like that. And I suppose different presenters do different things, because I've heard Cooley do this show. I've heard Rebel do the show, so, you know what I'm saying? I'm a recent addition to the family as such, so, you get what I'm saying? So I know people do it different ways, and it's a case, I guess it's a case of just listening to that and just dealing with that, because nothing can stay the same. You get what I'm saying? Everything must change. Even the news at 10 is no longer at 10, is it? Now at 6, so it must change. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about that. Yeah, which actually wanted Dionne to throw something up actually to talk about necessarily. I mean, but someone to phone in and see what they'd like to talk about this morning. We'd leave it down to you. You get what I'm saying? Because it is the people's talk show, like they're saying, oh, I'm getting in the way. So if you can phone in the number 07977 884 840. That's 07977 884 840. And you know, tell me what tell me what ails you. Tell me what bugs you. Tell me what you've read in the newspaper. Tell me what you're criticizing or not criticizing or whatever. So we can get the ball rolling, so to speak. We've got Jules in the studio having her breakfast, and she's I know she's coming to say something now.
Good morning across to the capital, to all the listeners, past listeners and obviously new listeners that we're gaining all the time. Thanks for tuning in to Genesis 91.6. It's a pleasure to have your company this Sunday. We're going to talk about a number of subjects. I was actually just reviewing the Sunday Times magazine, looking at an article which was referring to black deaths within the community, and this one was actually based in East London. I haven't actually finished reading it. I was reading it while I was having my breakfast, so I'll be able to update you as we go along. But violence within the community seems to be something of a very topical issue, and it seems to be something that seems to be gathering momentum every week. I would like to hear listeners' points of views across the capital. So I'd like to say goodbye to Owie Hart. What a wonderful show. I was listening to him as I was driving in. He always does it for me on a Sunday morning. Not to me, in case George is listening. Hello, you're through to Genesis 91.6. This is Jools and Doctah X here on the People's Talk Show on Genesis 91.6. What's your name and where are you calling from? Hello? Hang on. Hello? There's no one there. Okay, seem to have lost your caller. Never mind. Don't be afraid of calling. I'm going to call out the studio number again. 07977884840. Yeah, it's called Murder Rap club doorman shot dead. Yeah, I know it's all about the killings in the community, but the thing is, they had a nice corpse on the front page. If you like that kind of thing, I thought that was quite morose. I don't know. Anyway, if you don't buy the Sunday Times, you won't know what we're talking about, but there's a large spread on black violence there, so if you do want to go and purchase a copy, you'll be able to see what we're actually talking about in the magazine. Is that 1999? 15th of August. Oh, okay. It's an old issue, apparently. Hang on. Hello, you're through to Genesis. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Calling from Hipsy.
Sorry, can you turn your radio down a little bit for me and just speak up?
Is that still interfering?
You've got some interference.
No, I'm asking you, is the radio still interfering?
Oh no, it's fine now, thank you very
It's
much.
fine.
Yeah, what did you say your name was again? Can you repeat that for me though?
Yeah, Solla. Calling
Solla.
from Hither Green.
Oh, Hither Green. Oh, nice, we're reaching out that far. Excellent. What contribution would you like to make on today's show?
Well, basically, in terms of the violence affecting the community, I just wanted to throw in a few things and see how the discussion progresses based on that, yeah?
Oh, lovely, okay.
And I wanted to talk about spirituality and say that I've heard a few discussions on the People's Talk Show, and when people talk about spirituality, generally they talk about Christianity and the effect that in Africa, and try to link that to the situation occurring today in our communities, yeah? And I wanted to ask the community what they think about African spirituality, whether it be the Yoruba, the Akan, the Zulu, etc., or even down to Voodoo and Obia, and what they think about it, whether they think it has a positive contribution to transforming the minds of our young men and women, and therefore lessening the violence by giving them something constructive to focus on, which is an in-depth, eternal kind of thing, you know. So I just wanted to say that and see whether people call and respond to that at all.
I by a guy called Malidoma Patrice Sume, and the book was called Spirit and the Water.
Yeah.
And it was all about his initiation, well, his life, his experience in living in Upper Volta in Africa. And it's quite a well-published book, so I suppose quite a lot of people would have read it. And when I read it, I must admit, it had a profound effect on me.
Right.
A really profound effect on me, because it talked about spirituality and other sort of other dimensions in such a sort of real and distinct way that we could never appreciate because we're not actually in the environment. Did you get me? So I'm wondering whether the environment does actually have something to do with the way in which people enact their spirituality. Do you see where I'm coming from at all?
Yeah, I do, because I feel so that the way that you approach each day is really determined by your approach to spirituality, you know. It's like you could wake up in the morning and say, oh boy, it's raining, this is going to be a rough day, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. Or you could say that, boy, I'm alive, you know, you can feel the breath go through your body, you can feel your blood pumping around your system, and you can realize that no matter what problem you've got, because life, it's a possibility that can be dealt with, and that there are ways of dealing with things if you look for them, you know.
Yeah.
But if you dismiss spirituality as being mumbo jumbo because of the rituals that have been discussed by the Western mindset, I might add.
Yeah.
Well, I thought you were going to say something then. Yeah. Then if you dismiss it, you're seeing an aspect of yourself which is really part of your true self. You know what I mean?
Yes. It's not only that, but it's also about being aware of the power of different energies that surround you, and it's like in all different forms. And that was the one thing I learned about African spirituality, was the sort of importance of Mother Earth to everything, you know, and the essentialness of the stars and stuff like that. Different way of thinking. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a universal type of thought, you know, as opposed to the individual type of thought. It's something that I've experienced that has changed my life, and particularly the way in which I view people and I speak to people. There's a lot of people that I know are in self-denial about themselves, and about their culture, because ultimately these customs, these rituals, everything is attached to our culture, which is just disseminated across, a region of land, do you see what I mean, a vast continent, and it changes regionally, the same as it does in any other country. Do you see what I mean? In any other environment. But we have a way of listening to what other people have to say about our culture, especially when they're dogging it. Particularly in schools, they teach this to our children. They teach us that we were primitive. That we come from an undeveloped country, and we weren't the first originators of everything. That's what they try to teach. So therefore, it's all about unscrambling that myth for our children. Because if we don't unscramble the myth for our children, how are we going to go forward? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
But can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go on then.
Well, how would you define African spirituality?
I would just define it as a method to know the self, and it's kind of a few different things with common to most African cultures, whether they be in Africa or in what has been termed by Europe as the New World. It's got a music aspect to it, a dance aspect to it, and a ritual aspect to it. And also it involves divination, which means of trying to access the information about the past and the future. And then also one of the most important aspects of it is remaining in connection with ancestors and recognizing that part of the flow from the beginning of time,
Yes, yeah. Can I ask you a question? There are listeners out there who are saying, this is all well and good. How do I get in contact, or how do I get to find out myself, or to trace my genealogy, or find out more about my African heritage? Because a lot of people you find that a little dispersed, and they can't actually trace their family lines. I mean, what kind of facilities or organisations exist to support, this need within our community? Do you know of any?
Well, yeah, there are a few. I mean, what I would do is I would leave you my number, and then if people call who are interested, then you could give them my number, rather than me saying it on the air for everybody to take, It's something that, because it's a spiritual quest, people need to be serious, so really, only serious people would get access to it, if you get what I mean.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there has to be a vetting process for anything. It's just like at home, you don't give everyone your telephone number, do you? I mean, you might, if it's a business, or it's something that you want everybody to call, fine, you give away a mobile number, but you don't give away your personal home number type thing, do you?
That's right.
So, it's like that. Right, you can actually call us off here on this other number.
Right.
And I'll give it to you if you want to run along and grab a pen, or if you've got one handy. I'm assuming that you haven't.
Yeah, no, I've got one.
You've got one? Oh, so efficient, so organised. Okay. I'm going to fire away. It's 07 979 825 034. Yeah, that's Mystery Man's number. I'm sure you'll be able to leave a message with him with your details, your name, and your telephone number, and just tell him basically what you've told me. I'm sure he's listening, but if he's not caught it, then just update him with regards to what we talked about. I'd like to thank you for your contribution ever so much, because it is essential, especially for the younger generation.
Yeah, that's right.
To hear us, people talk about our culture, our history, our story in such a positive way, because there's so much of this name calling going on, there's so much of this self-denial going on, there's so many people that want to detract, or they only want to associate with one particular part of the continent. Do you see what I mean? Or with particular people from the continent. There's still a lot of segregation going on, so I do feel that, perhaps the way to unify the masses is that way, but we also need to be able to use, our history, what's the word I'm looking for? Our rituals, right, to better ourselves.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I read in his book, right, and I completely agree with it. The man mastered it,
Yeah, man.
And he could only have had that handed down from family to family. So when these things are now coming down to us, I mean, we don't have anyone who's passing them on.
That's right.
So the generation, especially the generations that are born here, they don't have any kind of trace back to that kind of experience, You know, they don't think that that they associate with it.
That's right, and it's really the deepest and most rooted part of their being. And if they were to tap into it, it would totally transform them, because they would actually become who they are supposed to be and not who they've been told to be.
Yes. 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 And I mean, there's a lot of people now who don't want to go out and christen their children. They want their children to have naming ceremonies, and you know. So I mean, it's all happening. It is slowly coming into to the fore. I do feel that there is a small, but a small trickle, but a trickle makes a stream. Do you know what I
That's
mean?
right. That's
So
right.
I do feel that there's a trickle that is definitely making a stream. And
Yeah.
if Doctah X, myself, and the past presenters on Genesis, and the ones that are still on Genesis, I think that, you know, we're all contributing in our own way towards that trickle. You know, everybody
Absolutely.
that's a part of the Genesis family, and all the listeners as well out there. You know, you all add to it, because you might not be calling in, but you're still listening, and by
That's
listening,
right.
you know, you're still helping with the flow, and you by calling in is still helping with the flow. You know,
That's
because
right.
it's
That's
nice
right.
to know that we have got listeners out there who do care about their community just as much as we do. You know, and that's essential. There are so many people trying to destroy our community and categorize us. It's like, you know, Jamaican is the new word for real bad. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
violent, and everybody's a yardie. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's just got possibly, you know, it's just got, you know, out of control.
That's
Out of
right.
control, because, you know, there are violent nations all over this planet, you know, and ones that go and inflict damage on other people's land and property, and kill millions of people, you know, but those people are never seen as violent. Do you know what I mean? Because
That's
they're
right.
doing it
Yeah.
for a good cause. What is
That's
this good cause? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, listen, I won't keep you, and I want to move on to another call, but I did appreciate what you said, and I'm going to throw that into the fore today, and I'm sure Doctah X is going to have lots to say on what he feels about that side of spirituality.
All right then, sis.
Okay,
Well,
and please
enough
do
with
call,
that, yeah.
please do call Mystery Man for me, and leave your details, so that if anyone does call, there's no reason why, you know, we can't create a flow. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
And I'm also
yeah.
interested, so do leave your number with him, and I'll be in touch anyway. So
All right then,
you
sis.
see, there's a trickle. All
Yeah,
right,
man. Yeah.
all right. Give me your
It's
name
fine,
again.
yeah. It's Solla.
Solla. I remember
That's
that.
right.
Okay.
Okay then.
Lovely name. All right.
Take it
Take
easy.
care.
Thank you.
Peace and love and guidance.
Bye.
Bye bye. Now, what can I say to the capital? That was cool. I'll tell you why I thought that was incredibly interesting, because I do feel as a people we need to learn to get together more. I had a very strange experience this week. I went into another radio station. Yeah, no, I wasn't cheating. I wasn't being unfaithful to Genesis. I was going there as part of job as project coordinator for Pop Collective, going there to basically talk about a few gigs and our organisation on a mutual friends radio show, only a 10-minute slot. It was based in Focus E15 in Stratford, and I went in to do this show, and there's two that were there that definitely have made it clear to me that they dislike me because I'm black and I'm positive. And I did a legal radio show there prior to going on Genesis. What basically happened was they told me that my radio show was far too black and blah 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 blah, and lots of hassle, lots of grief. And these are two black women. One's called Hilary Buchanan, because I'm not afraid to mention names, and another one's called Keisha Kerr. Anyway, they both work as far as I'm aware, for Newham Council and Waltham Forest Housing Action Trust. Anyway, I went in there to do the interview. I was asked, I was told that she did not want to see my face or be in my presence, this woman called Kay. I was very offended by it, and particularly when it's black people doing it to their own. Do you see what I mean? It does hurt, and it tends to happen to me a lot because I'm a very positive person, and I'm sure lots of positive people out there also experience lots of negative people trying to cause them some form, got my words mixed, some form of distress. You know, she did, and she ended up threatening me, and I took it personally, and I did take the issue and the matter further, and I'm also going to write a letter of complaint. But I think we've got to do this. You know, there are certain members of our communities which do not want to see us succeed and survive, you know, because of their mindset. And what the last caller had to say was so sad. If they were spiritually in line with some kind of positive energy, they wouldn't have sought to find the need to do that. You know, I said to her, you know, I broadcast and I broadcast where I want to broadcast, which is on Genesis, and you know, I'm dedicated to Genesis in that I'm here as often as I can be, and Doctah X and all the other presenters that are, you know, that are part of the family, and of course the management as well, and Rowe, you know, everybody's doing something very positive to contribute something back into the community via the airwaves. So. To those, to Hilary Buchanan and to Kay Shakur, who work there at Focus at E15 on Stratford Broadway, I would like to say that, you know, I hope you both lose your jobs because you're both responsible people who should never, ever, ever treat another human being in that way. And it is about how we treat each other. I think so. Doctah X, I've been standing here talking for a long time, and I see that he's reading the article that we was talking about that was published on August the 15th from the Times newspaper. And I'm going to read out the studio number again because I would like you to give in a clue that these two individuals are running a course. They're black women, and they're running a course, a media course, to teach people how to use a radio board. When I mean board, training from putting together a show to actually being able to broadcast and run like a 10-point board. By that I mean just be able to switch and use different formats, either mini disc or reel-to-reel or tape cassette or whatever together, which is very, very informative, and a lot more of us need to be within the broadcast field and media field, because we are sort of, I'd say, definitely underrepresented in that field. But people like that make it incredibly difficult for other people, you know, and they really don't represent our needs, and we need to recognise those people who do not support and help us for the long term. And I'm talking about the positive people that want to create positive change. Those that don't, you know, we need to start having some form of action or defence. And yes, I went as far as I could go into making sure that I got her warned against me, because she wanted to take my out of the studio with her person, I mean, by which I see as a violent threat, and, you know, which is not on. And any person who employs people like that, you know, basically, as far as I'm concerned, are vicariously liable as well for their behaviour, because it's common assault. Any situation like that, and all because you're black and you're positive, no way. That's got nothing to do, and because I've got locks. That had a lot to do with it as well, you know. The weave-ons, the green contact lenses and everything. I think that they must have looked at me and judged me, whereas I didn't judge them, and I was just polite and being nice. But anyway, less of my story. I'm really sorry to bore you with that, but I just would like to say that there are people, workers, youth workers and project workers, which aren't good influences on our children, and that we must vet them first, because I would absolutely loathe and hate to think that someone like that would actually be in charge or be responsible for creating an impression on my child. So there you have it. With that, we have to be careful about the influences that we actually put on our children. The studio number is 07977 884840. The studio number is 07977 884840. Oops, hang on, I've got to. Sorry. Oops. Sorry, I missed two calls. I didn't realise because I hadn't pressed the button right, and I don't think I have still. I'm going to have to ask Doctah X to come and have a look at this, the phone. It's 07977 884840. Yeah, I thought I was missing calls. There was loads of missing calls going on as I was talking along. I'll take this call, or is Doctah X going to take this call?
Yeah, you take it, please. Yeah, I heard you'll be a misfortune. I didn't catch the other caller what he was saying earlier on.
Yeah.
But, you know...
What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Peace.
Oh, hello, Peace. I was thinking to you for ages.
No, I'm serious, man. See, I listen to all the viewers, that's everyone misfortune, yeah? And success.
And you too.
See, that station that you went the other day, right?
Yeah.
Even though it's a part of your you know, what's going on with the brothers and sisters, yeah?
Yeah.
And what they're trying to family up in the communities, yeah?
Yeah.
But also a community is made up of various different people, yeah? Right now we're trying to see who is who in our community, yeah? Now, you being there, you should not have gone there.
I shouldn't have gone there?
No.
Why?
because the bare fact that you see you've gone there and they don't want to see you there. They've got their own reason right.
Yeah, but so have I. I've still got my own legal rights as well.
True.
That's what I'm trying to say. If someone threatens to remove my person from a building, yeah, that's common assault, and I'll call the police. I don't care who you are. Yeah, you are making me feel in threat of my person. It's a publicly owned building. I can walk into any publicly owned building that I want. I can even walk into Scotland Yard as long as I've got clearance. I don't care whether you like me or not. It's nothing to do with the personal like or dislike. It's about professionalism, and I've got to make this clear. Do you know how many people do business with people they don't like? It's not about whether they like them or not. It's about investment. It's about money, and it's about business.
That's what I'm saying. So because of that, you see, they look on your person, right? And they're where they're at already. Yeah? And it's about money, and it's about business and everything.
It
right?
was. I was there to promote a gig on October the 14th at the Forum at Kentish Town for my group, Mad Ethics, who are supporting the Asian Dove Foundation, and to give away, hopefully at least one free ticket there, when I get them. So it was really just to promote the gig. And also because I was an ex-student there, that should never have happened. It just should never have happened. It was completely unprofessional. I can walk wherever I like. There's no law of this land that tells me I can't go anywhere. As long as I have made the right provisions, there is no law. I've got my press card. I've got whatever I need to go and do whatever I want to do. And everybody needs to recognise that. If you want to go and make an inquiry at the British Library, you want to find out something about your history, find it. If you want to go and have a look at the slave books and find out about whatever, then go and find it. Yeah?
True. Yeah, but with some of these people, black people, right?
Yes.
You must not forget, when they find someone like yourself coming up front with a positive view of black people overall, you understand?
Yeah.
And because they are basically in the system, so they're there to block you. Now you should know that.
No, I know. Sorry.
If I do, you should. They're there basically to block you, even though you're a part of the system. You're a student there, but you're a student with a difference.
Ex-student with a difference.
Ex-student with a difference. Okay, so this is why. You understand? So they don't want the people like themselves.
Yeah.
Whether they're black or white. You with me?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically I'm just listening to that and
No, thanks for your contribution piece. I mean, I agree with you, but we are always going to come up against these people. But what we've got to do, right, this is the moral of my story. I'm not advising everyone to go through the same thing as me. But the moral of the story is, if these people are here to block you, right, make sure every attempt that they make to do it, make sure you get them back. Because, the reason why I say this, right, is because it's happened to me on several occasions. And several occasions, I mean, from all different walks of life. But what you got to do is prepare to be able to push beyond their boundaries.
Well, like myself, same thing happened to me. So, but you see, what I say, you go out today because tomorrow people ready to pass.
And they're gonna pass.
Yeah, the song says, tomorrow people, where is your pass?
Yeah.
You understand? All this what used to go on won't last,
No.
Right.
It can't last. I mean, at the end of the day, they've had the opportunity and they've let it pass. Do you know what I mean? I had to remind them that when BBC Broadcast Magazine was writing, it didn't mention their names. It wasn't about them. It was about the professionalism and about the show and about the person who was actually saying something positive.
Right.
And that is what it's about. It's about if you are positive, stay positive and don't allow anyone to negatize, your experience.
Right.
Do you see what I mean? I made sure that I made sure that I took action to ensure that she was going to be formally warned for her action, to me, because it was threatening behaviour. Yeah, and I don't care who you are. If it's threatening behaviour, it's threatening behaviour, and it ought to be dealt with.
Right. So you just hear this now, right? The writing is on the wall for the men, right?
Mm-hmm.
See it for the election.
It's true.
Right? So
Peace.
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks for your contribution there. Doctah X, here you are. It's all yours. I'm going to finish my breakfast. Across the capital, thanks for calling in. I'm just going to have a quick break. Doctah X is going to come here, and I'm sure he's going to tighten up the show. There you go.
Yeah, nice one, Jools.
Yeah. I'm going to take this call. I'm going to go into one in a minute, so I'll take this on anyway. Yeah, hello. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Sandra from Peckham.
Sorry?
Sandra from Peckham.
Sandra, hi.
Yeah, I just want to talk about the children's education. Yesterday I went to a meeting on, children failing in education. I was quite shocked considering they said that they gave out quite a lot of leaflets. There was only a handful of people that had actually turned up. And I was quite shocked at the information that they was actually putting out, saying about, and they were saying about how, like, in the English language now, that instead of, you get your GCSE, now they've actually made it now that in your GCSE you've got 3 other different levels. So you've got a D level, you've got a C level, and you've got a B level. So, black children are definitely being targeted, and I just feel that they're not, they said that they were giving out the leaflet, and it's like, black people just was not interested in their children's education. They say they're interested in their children's education, but they don't turn out to these meetings, and, I just think that, there's only a very few that are very conscious about and really are worried about their children's education. And I don't know. I just get so disheartened. I really do.
Sarge, you found that before, ain't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know you're kind of active in that, ain't you?
Yeah, I was in Saturday school, and my purpose is the children, you know what I'm saying? I've got one child, and I find it really hard to cope. I find it really depressing, his father's useless as far as I'm concerned.
Please.
But he is, I'm sorry, because I've got one child, and I want his father to be involved with him 24/7. That means 7 days a week. And his father isn't interested. His father thinks that a 1 day a week is being a father. I don't consider that being a father, So at the end of the day, I've got to look for my son to have other peers around him. And by being in the Saturday school, he's getting that,
Okay, good on you.
But all I'm saying is that, I just feel that too many people are into the music business and not really checking their children's education. I was in Brixton, and I was giving out a few leaflets and to young girls, and the things that they were wearing, they're not interested in their education. They're only interested in running up and down looking for young men. And I just blame it on the parents. Parents reckon that they're interested in their children's education, and they're not.
Yeah, it's for real. But you see, my point is then, is that we have our own media, and everybody says that they control the media and stuff like that. We have our own media and our own medium and we've got our own record labels, we've got our own radio stations, we've got our own everything. Right, and our media, the media that works for us, or the media that's supposed to represent us, doesn't represent us. You know what I mean? The media is run by black people who work for white people like slaves. You understand? So whatever the white man wants, I have to say the white man or the European, whatever you want, or whatever that enemy type person wants, or whatever that person that working against your upliftment it wants from you, right? We're being paid by these people. So Choice and all these other radio stations, a lot of other pirate radio stations, right? They're all about money. They don't care about people. They do not care about people. So what happens with that? With the media that they have, they're sending out these evil, not even evil, but these negative messages. You get what I'm saying? These negative gun tunes and sex tunes, and you've got $1 million artists that are saying I'm a bitch. You get what I'm saying? She's a $1 million artist. She's not a Tupac Halfpenny artist. You get what I'm saying?
I heard a 3-year-old singing that song, I Don't Want No Scrubs. I could not believe it.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
She was literally singing the lyrics, and I couldn't believe it. I said, I couldn't believe it.
That's no, and that tune is saying, I don't want no geezer who wants to ponce off of me. You get what I'm saying? That's what that tune is saying. I don't want no man who's sitting in the side of his brethren's car. Yeah, that means that any boy that's
mindset to, she's only 3 years old now, so when she gets to the age of 16 years old, she's only looking for a man with money.
You see what I'm saying?
That's the mindset.
Can you see this the subliminal education that's happening? So when people are saying it's the system, it isn't the system. It's us being controlled. We've got a lot of overseers and Uncle Toms who are in high places and are helping the system to perpetuate this thing on us, because we have our own media, we have our own radio, we have our own papers, and anything to do with contact with black people. I've got an article here, and it's in the Sunday Times, right? And I was just reading it, yeah?
Okay.
And when I tell you that, this it's obviously a white man that's written this article, yeah? Is it? It says by Precious Williams. Hold on, I'm getting it. Oh, I got it. Bang on. Right. Okay, right. Yeah, so we got Precious Williams, yeah? But it doesn't say where she's from. But what I was going to say is that, I thought it was a white person, but it isn't. But what I was going to say is that, of all the magazines, right, this is the Sunday Times. What happened to The Voice? What happened to The Choice? What happened to The Gleaner? If you ever read this article, it's so in-depth, and it's so truthful. You know, she's quoting people's names that they're scared to death to quote. It says which person got arrested. It's showing the guns. It's talking about the people's funeral. It's talking about Richard Parkinson. It's going in depth. Now, all the radio stations never come up with nothing. You get what I'm saying? None of the front pages. They never had no front page story. This is in the Sunday Times magazine. It's got nothing to do with white people. You know what I'm saying? 90% of their readership is white. What on earth are they doing writing about something that they've got nothing to do with? Why on earth is a black woman has an article written in a white paper, for somebody like me to read it? You know, because I read The Voice of the Nation. I don't read it in there. I read some little article about something, and all they ever write about is some other stupidness.
But like I said, it's like yesterday I was out on the street and I see somebody buying the sun. I said to him, what are you buying the sun for? What is in the sun that has any what relates to you from the sun? There's nothing in that paper that is going to relate to you. You know what I'm saying? I want it for my TV time. I said, well, go and buy a weekly TV Times that you've got for all the week.
That's
Don't
right.
be buying their paper, you know what I'm saying? But
They're lying because they want to see the naked.
As far as I'm concerned, any black person that buys the Sun and all them sort of low-class characters are low-class. I don't care. They can't be telling me they're buying it for the TV Times. You know what I'm saying? Nah.
I know what you're saying because that's what we was talking about.
And when we was talking, we was talking about all those people. Now, I'm in college, and I'm doing a certificate for computing. Now, when I pass, I'm not looking, obviously I'm going to be looking for a job, but I'm looking to put something back in my community. I'm working for the community now. But we were saying that it's amazing how all these people make it and don't even give nothing back. Nothing whatsoever. They just get their nice cars and whatever, and they just go on. And at the end of the day, until, although I'm talking about doctors, scientists, all they need to be put in back into the community. Even if it's for, they give up 2 or 3 hours a week, can't teach somebody something that the knowledge that they know. We can go far.
Bang on. They need translators like me and you. You know what I'm saying? Because there's one type of person who's lost touch. You understand? But they believe that we're lesser. They believe, because I speak like this, they believe I'm lesser. So they don't even, because they can't communicate directly with the people, because you can't communicate with people who read the Sun in 5 and 6 syllable words. You understand? Because the Sun hasn't got those level of words in it. So if you've got a habit of reading a paper which has single syllables and maybe 2 syllables for its most complicated word, then the habit that's going to be formed is that you're not going to be too into 4 and 5 syllable words.
But Doctor X, I don't particularly like you swearing on the air, but I have to just let that run because the evidence to me is the truth. Regardless, I just have to say, you know what I'm saying? Say the F word, well, you know what I'm saying? I wish I didn't have to hear it, but too bad. You know, the information that you're giving, I haven't had no fault in what you're saying. I can't find no fault. And if I could find a fault, I'd tell you straight up. You know what I'm saying? So carry on. Keep it real. And seriously, because it's like the devil's on my back because it's like I get these. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's like this white man is trying to run me down. You know what I mean? Give up everything. You know what I'm saying? And I could be an Uncle Tom and just say, yeah, I'm gonna go for it. But no, you know what I mean? And then when I talk to black men, you know what I'm saying? And they turn around and say, oh well, black women are weak because they're going out with white men now.
Rubbish.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
It's them the ones that are weak, because this particular man, he's telling me about how black women are weak. But yeah, he's a black man. He knows about himself, but he checked white women still same way. How's that?
No, exactly.
But he knows about self.
Jules is killing herself.
You know about self, and then be going checking them people, because if you know about self, I believe you love yourself enough to want to be with yourself.
Yeah.
But that's what it's all about.
I had a show last night about love, self-love, and love, and the haters.
Yeah, I heard.
Okay.
And I've got some of those attributes in me, and I'm trying to clean up.
Yeah, man, we have to clean up them little hateful ideas. We have to. You get what I'm saying? That's what causes a man to go up into a man and shoot him because of some stupid reason. Yeah. Because people, the pettiness of their mindset, the low. Or retarded even. How can you be thinking of people because you don't like what they got on? Just like what Jules was saying this morning about the way these green-eyed weave-wearing people was looking at her. You get what I'm saying? It's all this. It's this cauldron of hate and disgustingness.
Well,
and
I can't
envy.
understand any black person that can envy a next black person that is doing it, because at the end of the day, if they can do it, I can do it too. That's how I have to look at it. I want to be like them, get to a higher state. Why do I want to be low and keep them low? If they're high, I want to get to where they're at.
That's right.
I'm not their mindset, liking, money-wise, and at the end of the day, we can do it.
Of course we can.
We can definitely do it, but it's just the mindset. Definitely got to clean up the mindset.
Clean it up, clean, scrub it out and disinfect it and bleach it out.
Okay then.
Yeah? All right, Sandra, nice one, yeah?
Bye.
Yeah.
No, us two. So I just want to go through. The mic's so high, you're so tall. Is that all right? Sandra, I just wanted to basically thank you for saying what you said. I was sitting there at my seat because I thought, well, wow. I mean, what it goes to show is that we all feel and think the same way, and that we all are actively trying, because I am perfect. I'm far from it. I have to disinfect my brain all the time because it has a way of just niggling and getting back into your system. You watch too much TV, you get these horrible, violent thoughts. Do you know what I mean? Because when this woman went at the time, I have to say that in my mind, all the things that went on, but I sat there with my legs crossed, my face smiling, and essentially because I said to you back, because I'll get you, and about. But like you said, we do to watch the children. We care very much about our surrounding children. The thing, loving yourself, and about your friend that you said that he's talking to you about women being weak, man, and he's there with a we face situations where we go to visit someone or to dinner somewhere, and then you up there and it's like a black man, and then he's with a you didn't know, you have to rinse it, and you carry on, and it's nice, and that's because we respect people from whatever walk of life. They don't do the same to us, and that's the reason why we have I think the interbreeding thing on a generic base that.
But the hate I'm saying it's not so much because you see what you have to understand. The few people understand at least is that white people never hated black people. They didn't just wanted to survive. They just found a means to make money, and through that it seems like this particular that they used and exacted upon us makes it seem that they hate. Really, what to do was they're a barren country. They come from a baseline, and they found a way to get money and to make their people. And it's like let them a better life. And then you do that for any of them. Why is killing everybody in the street because Glappy senior Dionne stupid? Hey, why are we letting our children, after we put our children through education, why are we leaving them open to cigarette people? Or retarded even. How can you be thinking of people because you don't like what they got on? Just like what Jules was saying this morning about the way these green-eyed weave-wearing people was looking at her. You get what I'm saying? It's all this. It's this cauldron of hate and disgustingness.
Well,
and
I can't
envy.
understand any black person that can envy a next black person that is doing it, because at the end of the day, if they can do it, I can do it too. That's how I have to look at it. I want to be like them, get to a higher state. Why do I want to be low and keep them low? If they're high, I want to get to where they're at.
That's right.
Not their mindset, liking, money-wise. And at the end of the day, we can do it.
Of course we can.
We can definitely do it, but it's just the mindset.
Definitely
got to clean up the mindset.
Clean it up, clean, scrub it out and disinfect it and bleach it out.
Okay then.
Yeah? All right, Sandra, nice one, yeah?
Bye.
Yeah.
No, us two. So I just want to go through. Oh, the mic's so high, you're so tall. Is that all right? Sandra, I just wanted to basically thank you for saying what you said. I was sitting there and I was like, up, down in my seat, because I thought, well, wow. I mean, what it goes to show is that we all feel and think the same way, and that we all are actively trying, because I am perfect. I'm far from it. I have to disinfect my brain all the time, because it has a way of just niggling and getting back into your system. You watch too much TV one night and you start to get these horrible, violent thoughts. Do you know what I mean? Because when this woman was saying this to me at the time, I got to say that in my mind, the things that was going on, but I sat there with my legs crossed, my face smiling, and essentially, because I said to her, watch your back, because I'll get your back, and that's what it's about. But like you said, we do have to watch the children. We have to care very much about the kind of influences that we are surrounding our children with. And the thing about loving yourself, and about your friend that you said that is talking to you about black women being weak for going with a white man and he's there with a white woman. Well, sometimes we face these situations where we might go to visit someone or go to dinner somewhere, and then you turn up there and it's like a black man and then he's with a white woman and you didn't know, and you have to rinse it and you carry on calm and everything's nice. And that's because we respect people from whatever walk of life. The problem is that other people don't do the same to us. And that's the reason why we have a problem with this. This I think the interbreeding thing on a generic basis is because of that.
Yeah, but is this the hate thing though? You get what I'm saying? It's not so much because you see, what you have to understand is, what the few people should understand at least, is that white people never hated black people while they took them into slavery. They didn't actually hate them. They just wanted to survive. They just found a means to make money, and through that, it seems like this particular behavior that they used and exacted upon us makes it seem as if they hated us. But all they really wanted to do was survive. They had a barren country. They come from a barren wasteland, and they found a way to make money and to make their people live. And it's like energy. Let their people live a better life. And anybody should want to do that for any of their own. Why should you want to be killing everybody in the street because Glappy Senior, Dun Dada Dionne, and all that stupidness? I was saying yesterday, why are we letting our children, after we put our children through education and school, why are we then leaving them open to semi-literate people on the airwaves? Most of them ragga DJs, they cannot read and write properly. Most of them. Yeah, that means they're illiterate and semi-literate. They find a way to make money, which is cool. But they're then also glamorizing their lifestyle because of that illiteracy and the inability to understand certain complicated mindsets and formats. Yeah, they get caught up in that and they think it's a lifestyle that one should live. And it's something big about, killer boy, chop off this, North gal on the road, big body gal, short pants gal. What? What's glamorous about that? Yeah, Genesis? I have to slow down a bit. Sorry, what's your name and where you calling from? Speak up, please, because we can't hear you.
Brother Peter from Peckham.
Brother Peter from Peckham. Okay, yeah, good.
Yeah, I found it, just wanted to bring up something. Black Awareness Day.
Yeah.
Where were all these so-called black newspapers on that day? And media.
Ask me, blood. Ask me, blood. Ask me. They were sleeping. They went out the night before, probably.
All this Voice, New Nation, Choice FM, who owns them? At the end of the day.
White people. At the end of the day, blood.
I want to go further than that. What are their names?
Whose names? Sorry.
Of the people that own these. I don't know.
No, the only way you're going to really get that is if you can go to, Company House in O Street, because we don't know their exact names. But and pay $3.50 for a search, and then you can find out their names. Is what Jules is telling me. Yeah,
Oh,
because I've never had to go that way. But you know what? Now you've mentioned it, I might decide to go in that little, next couple of months. I might decide to look in that avenue actually.
yeah, because we just have to cut through the crap and name some names.
See, yeah, Jules said that she's got them at home, but not with her. Some of the names. But we probably bring that in next week if you remember. Yeah.
The community needs to be made clear on who owns what, who controls what.
But yeah, you're clear, boy. You're bang on, Peter. You're bang on.
You have to be bang on.
Yeah.
Because we're going round in circles.
For real,
you
for
have
real.
to start identifying people.
For real. Bang on.
Right, another thing about that's why we can't get it together on this violence. A few weeks ago, I phoned up Commissioner, and the suggestion I made is to look at what they're doing in Northern Ireland with the so-called peace process. Where is our peace process?
Yeah, exactly.
That's why the papers and the radio stations are not, and like myself on the grassroots level, all of us are not getting our act together to take responsibility. We're going to talk about the same problem this time next year.
For real, blood. Oh, don't make me think like that. You get me? I know what you're saying. Blood. It's deep, isn't it?
We was talking about this. I was talking about this when Daddy Cooley was on did the talk show back a few years back.
See?
Now we're with the same problem. I'm not doing jack.
See?
The radio stations ain't doing jack. The newspapers ain't doing jack.
See?
The community ain't doing jack.
Yeah.
So
For real.
I'm not going to slag anyone off. I have to start with myself first.
But you see, yeah, but you see what we're saying is that, what I'm saying, yeah, if I could just get a second, right, is that the what we don't understand is our own psychology, yeah? We have a breed, and a media and a set of people, and everybody thinks they got it right, and everybody thinks they know how to run it. So therefore, you've got this broken idea, like Jules just said, you've got a lot of initiatives happening. Everybody wants to be the top of the hill. Everybody, we're the black initiative, this, that, we're the green, we're the black, this and that. You get what I'm saying? Rather than say, well, hold up a minute, let's link with that, to do that. It's egotistical. The whole thing is a small-minded, primitive mind state. None of these people have evolved. Most of them are slave-like. You get what I'm saying? Because they don't understand they haven't learned to deal with black psychology. They figure that Freud and Jung and them kind of psychologists, which is what is, sorry. Was you coming in there? Because I've been told that I always cut across people.
No, carry on.
Yeah, this Freud and Jung and them people there, yeah? What is being run, the mentality that's running British blacks and the whole of the British psychology is based from these European psychologists. It's a mindset. Everybody's agreeing at one point that it's a mind slavery, right? Yes. We all agree upon that. So how comes we ain't got nobody, right, en masse, not talking individual guys who celebrating, because I mentioned some other guys. I know about Naya Makbar in America and blah, 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 many others, right? But I'm talking here, and I'm talking about collectivity. Why isn't Nation of Islam linking with this man and linking? If you're dealing with proper black people and the holisticness of black people, why is it everybody wants to go one side and have the most money one side and flex on their own? What's that all about? That isn't about you. Black people first, then the religion after. No, it's the religion first and black people after. So of course you're going to get this. Right now I passed the church on the way up here. Beer cars outside. Beer cars. You know what I'm saying? And you can guarantee those set of people are part of the mix-up that we're in. Because they think that by praying to God on the weekend, you get what I'm saying, that it'll all go away because somebody taught them that. That's a mindset. It doesn't go away, like you said. Years ago, you was on the station talking about this. Years later, has it got better? Has it got better?
But what?
Worse, exactly. So what has actually happened? Where is God? Where is all these, this guy was talking about spirituality and, you can't, this is what I call the head in the sand syndrome. You understand? You can't dip your head in the sand and focus on the darkness in the sand and hope that the rest of the troubles are going to go away. And that is going to be that is the aid. First, you have to deal physically with the trouble. If a train is coming at you, get out the way first. So before you can start to delve into spirituality and deepness, you first have to deal with the mess that's in your way. So to run away and say, well, I'm going to deal with spirituality in a great way to it, and then I'm going to feed everybody else this, deal with spirituality, and it'll all go away. It won't. They are very physical. There are people who are very, very physical and material. If you don't have weaponry, whether it's mental weaponry, psychological weaponry, or biological weaponry to deal with these physical and material people, they ain't gonna go away. They ain't gonna disappear because you're now in a spiritual zone or a Christian zone or a Allah zone. They stay the same place, and they make it worse, because when you take yourself out of the fight and you go one side and say I'm a Christian or I'm a this, and you take yourself that it's only God you're dealing with, the numbers increase. It's like you're a coward. I don't care about that. I care about my children and what they're gonna have to be faced with. I don't care about you and your God, because all the praying and all that mix up hasn't done nothing. Like you said, you're a testament to it. It's got worse.
Yeah, can I come in there?
Yeah, sorry.
I think you said something significant, I think last week or the week before.
Mm-hmm.
This war that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
Many of us don't even recognize that we're in a war, because it's so covert, so invisible, so sophisticated, that it only takes a few of us with conscious mind to actually know that we're in a war.
Listen,
warfare.
Peter, sorry, I'm not going to cut you, but what did you just say? What did you say? It takes how much? A few of us with what minds?
Conscious mind.
Right.
To actually know that we're in a war.
Right. So what does that prove then? What does that prove? That the war is a mental one. You understand? And you are free of those mental chains. You are. I am. Jools is.
It's not just a mental war. We're in a race war. We're in an economic war. Right? We've got drugs in our community to destabilize the black community, so that years to come, blacks would have to move out of the area, and then property developers would have to move in and buy up property. All these is manufactured. So it's no coincidence. Look, listen, cast your mind back to 20 years ago, 1979. We was fighting the police and the skinheads, yeah? 20 years later, we've got problems with our own. Things over the years, if it's not dealt with, it gets worse, and one thing triggers another.
Yeah.
What are we going to deal with 20 years down the line? We don't know, because we're not dealing with our problems right now, so it's gonna get worse.
See?
It's gonna get worse.
Serious thing, man. It's a serious thing. And that, you see, that's depressing to me, you know. That's properly like not there. You get what I'm saying? You bang on, and it's like, what do I do? But I have to wake up in the morning and say, boy, I'm hitting at it. You get what I'm saying? Because it's like, I hear like, you know, some people say, boy, you know, black people is this and black people is that. We have to start saying, well, hold up a minute. You know what I'm saying? You know, these DJs, everybody that's part of our media, DJs, entertainment is our biggest money spinning industry as far as ex-slaves are concerned, yeah?
Yeah.
So that is something that, you know, these doctors, lawyers, whoever they should be, who thinking that their thing is better, to try and get into, and not get into the entertainment business, but try to grab a hold of in terms of control. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So that we're not being fed by, you know, Batty and this and that, fed by these tunes. So little tune, look, a tune like I Wanna Freak You Up and Down. Yeah. I mean, like, you know, it is, and it's for black people. You get what I'm saying? Most of the often than not, and it's like, well, what are we gonna do with that? I don't hear when rappers came out and the white society realized that their white kids were buying it. What did? They formed a coalition and said, we don't want that, and we want to stop our children from buying it. So they have to put a parental guidance and a sticker on it. It weren't done just for the fun of it. It was done because people decided that my child is too young to be hearing that kind of profanity. You get what I'm saying? But black people don't care. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't seem as if they care. The ones who are trying to care are bombarded with this. It's like it's like ants. You've got so many illiterate and semi-educated and dunce and backward people in the community that it's like, God, when you send your child out there, he's being bombarded with this, my trainers, my weave, my this, and he's bombarded, or she's bombarded with that, and she almost like she has to capitulate, she has to back up and say, listen, I want the trainers, I want my weave, I want my whatever. She's under pressure. So where are these people who's supposed to be connecting with these dance people, these backward, primitive mindset people? Those are the people. I don't want to hear no highfalutin language. I want to know because these are the numbers. We are not all doctors. We are not all lawyers, and we're not all these highfalutin people. Most of us are poor, and most of us live in these, entrenched in these ghetto-type communities. What?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'm just a factory worker, yeah, on some little petty wage, but you see, I'm not ashamed to say that, but
go true blood. What?
With these lawyers, with these whatnots, and I don't see them.
With these what? Sorry, say that again.
Lawyers.
You don't see lawyers? Yeah, saying, yeah. We don't see them.
They're all caught up in their own little world. You see, few of us actually live it. I saw that film last week, The Matrix.
Yeah. See.
That film taught me a lot. Because we're living. Some of us are living in the real world, and some of us are living in this fantasy world.
True.
Until something happened to you, and you have to live in the real world. The real world is dark. The real world ain't nice. Some of us are living in the real world, and some of us are living in this Walt Disney fantasy.
Yeah, for real.
And those that are living in this fantasy with their money and their cars and their whatnots, and they keep themselves to themselves, we have to drag them out.
Yeah, same. How do we do that though, blood? You know what I'm saying? It's about, how do we get to that? Yeah, that's hard, blood.
It is. Well, the radio station, what we're talking, and it's going face to face. As I said, who are these people that own these so-called black newspapers? Who are they? And until we actually dig deep and get to the truth and cut through the BS, we would never know. We'll still be in a mess.
We are, because we've got too many different directions, blood. You know what I'm saying? All it takes is for somebody to forget about their religious ideologies and work with the war at hand. Forget about that. Learn from other people that have fought wars. Right now they've been showing X amount of things that they've been doing covertly in the war, like the last war with Hitler and all that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that means that war is not clean. Sorry?
A lot of things that we never knew about.
Exactly. Years later.
Yeah.
They, when it's all gone and said and done, they can bring it out. People don't understand. They don't understand war. They think war is about, I don't know what they think it is. They think it's all about guns and just going out there and killing. That's not the war we're talking about.
Yeah, because I was reading the New Nation. I'm going to come off the line in a minute.
Okay,
I was reading last thing. I was reading the New Nation, and they got a full spread about some party at the mansion. I mean,
yeah, I know. I was reading it, blood.
Like some raving, like some 18-year-olds.
Yeah, blood. Yeah, blood.
Say something conscious to the people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for real.
Full spread. And then I turn the next page. They got Frank Bruno.
Yeah. On It's a Knockout, yeah, blood. That's what I'm saying. You see, you're where I am at, Peter. You're just the same place I am. And like, coming like, that's why I don't want to hate. That's why I'm trying to get rid of that hate concept. But the realization, though, is clear, isn't it? You don't have to hate them. You just have to say, what on earth? Does 1 and 1 make 17?
What are you on? What is your agenda?
Yeah, that's basically it. You can't turn around and hate them and say, well, them people do this and that. It's like,
they're our brothers and sisters. We've got to deal with them. But what are they on?
That's it, blood.
And
that's
they
what
can
I'm
ask
asking.
me the same question. What am I on?
Same.
What are you on? What are we all on?
But it's the mission. I did a show the other night on us talking about what is your mission and what is your purpose. I know mine. I'm here. You get what I'm saying? That's what I'm willing to go anywhere. You get what I'm saying? If this is what somebody wants me to do. But I'm not willing to crawl up under nobody's arse, though. That's definitely not what I'm willing to do. You get what I'm saying? But I'm just saying I'm ready. I'm ready. So this is what I'm doing. I've been doing this for years. That's why the knowledge where I come from, I know stuff. Been stuff. I know people. So it's not, I don't just woke up one day and say, oh, it's a good thing to do. Let me go and chat on the radio.
No, you've lived through an experience.
Exactly. And this is what I want. This in terms of giving back. I've met with lawyers. I've got lawyer friends. I've got all different types of people. Psychologist friends. But I'm still here. You get what I'm saying? I don't drive no fancy car. Not that I haven't driven a fancy car, but because of what I want to do now, I'm not driving one. You understand? I mean, I would never drive another one because we live in a material world as well. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just trying to show you that it takes commitment, sacrifice. self-sacrifice, which they're robbing you of self-sacrifice by feeding you all these material things. You get what I'm saying? And the children, Choice is making adverts on putting perm in young children's hair. What on earth purpose are they trying to serve? They're trying to serve the business community who that company is probably owned by some white people.
Yeah, I've got to come off the air now.
Nice one, Peter. Respect, yeah? Respect for your contribution. Big up.
Alright then, nice one.
Thanks, Peter. Doctah X, no, you're not getting anywhere. I just want to have a quick word with you. What was you saying about them? Is it one of them kids are blah, blah, blah? And do you notice that every black product they have for children's hair? I'm just 1 minute, caller. Do you find that every... Steve, okay, I'll take this one. Hi, D.
Yeah, you know what? Choice is owned by Chilton Radio. New Nation's owned by the Sun newspaper.
Hold on.
Say that
I'm going to repeat those as you're saying it, D. Right? It's saying that, for those who was listening earlier on, the Sun is Chilton Radio owns Choice, right?
Yeah,
yes, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they're Jews.
They're Jews, right? So Choice now, to Peter who was saying who they own, they're owned by Jews and Chilton Radio, yeah, which is a company that plays out in the sticks, kind of, yeah.
Yep.
Am I right? Yeah.
And the New Nation is owned by the people that own the Sun newspaper.
The New Nation is owned by people that own the Sun. So some corporation of people that own the Sun, yeah.
And they're Jews as well.
Hello.
They're Jews as well.
And they're Jews as well. Okay. So you got that.
Okay, and back to what you were saying about the constructors coming in and buying up the place. Didn't you see what they've done with Brixton? You could buy a house on Rowe in 1979 for $4,000. Right now, you can't buy a one-bedroom flat on there for $80,000. They made us, made the blacks stay on there, run the place red, made Brixton be a household name, because everywhere what's selling for lots of money has some kind of history behind it.
Yeah.
That's why Brixton is what it is today, because it's a household name. Go anywhere in the world and they say, where are you from? London? Brixton? So Brixton has built up a name for itself off the strength of black people what didn't understand what they was doing. They've moved all the blacks out now it's a yuppie place.
You're damn right.
Yeah. So
bang on.
A lot of things we're not looking at from a real point of view. We're just looking at the surface of it.
Because we're being manipulated, D, by these suckers in power. They're helping, like you said. Rather than Choice tell us the truth, we've got these three black stooges who claim they own Choice, and we've got these little. I've been to their dances. I see these little girls running around them. These little girls wanna be in among this guy. I know one of them's out in the field. Listen, I wouldn't even buy that chat. Oh, you think me frightened? He's out in the field with some young girls. You understand? Directly mean all that. You understand? And this is what they love. This is the lifestyle they love. Meanwhile, their children are suffering. You get what I'm saying? That's what they want, and they make it like they own it, because the Jews know how to work things. They put you up front, just like the Japanese did with Motown. They took Motown from Berry Gordy and then stuck him as the president. And then when they decided to get rid of him, they got rid of him. Bye-bye. You understand? And we still haven't got with that little game yet. We haven't got with it yet. Most people should know now that those black newspapers ain't owned people, no matter what editor they at the front.
Okay, and the Voice newspaper is owned by Jews.
And the Voice by Joe. I can't. You see what I'm saying? We can't win. We got nowhere to go.
You know, one of the wickedest things. You see, one of the boys, me and him grew up together. We used to play football and all that together. And we used to always be,
What's his name? Berry.
In a community together, yeah. And now listen.
Which one is that? Patrick Berry or the other one? Oh, you don't want to call no names.
Anyway, listen.
Yeah, go on.
He was deeply into Black Power. Yeah. Because I remember him from when I was little. My dad was running the Black Power movement.
Yeah.
So I know him from them days. I'm talking about from '68, when the first time when me and Muscle and them was going on TV and talking about Black Power.
Okay.
Yeah. I've known him from those days. And one day I was talking to him. I was saying to him, yo, Choice Radio needs to do something for the people, man. Do something for the black people. It's just a black community station. He said, it's not a community station, and it's not a black radio station. It's a business. Yeah, and he's not getting involved in politics because that doesn't pay the bills.
You're right, because Ray Dunn and KB and myself and someone else at a seminar, and Dionne was on it, and we was brushing Choice as well, and he was saying, I've been to a few of them and brushed Choice actually, and he was saying that they thought there was a community radio station, but they're not. That's what they're saying. They're clearly saying they're not a community radio station. All of them are saying it now. So it's like, first of all, they were masking that they was. When they saw money coming in, they decided they weren't going to be that no more.
Well,
you get what I'm saying? So we suffer. We poor black people, because like the brethren before who said he works, he's poor. Me, I'm poor. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't matter if I got on good trainers or not. I ain't got no money. You think I can jump on a plane and go to Jamaica tomorrow? That's if I had money. I don't have none. You understand?
Well, Choice Radio come up with the back of Passion or Lightning or whatever.
Yeah.
And that was a pirate station. Choice was never a pirate. They got the license and they was meant to work it out with Passion Radio, or Lightning Radio, whatever it is. They was meant to bring in some of the DJs, and what they've done, they didn't bother with that. They just brought in Commander B and forgot about the rest.
That's right. And also, I remember...
Commander B's late in the night, if you notice.
Sorry?
And Commander B comes on late in the night.
That's right. And I remember when those guys, when Berry and his brethren them was going around to youth clubs, right? Because what they did was smart. They went around to youth clubs and they took out prominent members, right? Because a particular youth club where I was at, they knew somebody there, and they went to the head man, who was a head of centre, a white man called Pedro Domingo, and they got him to write this big list of things saying that, oh yes, rare, this is good, what's well needed in the community. He's never heard a radio station in his life. So these guys were very smart. They were very business-minded in their attitude, whereas Passion, which I know who runs Passion also, right, wasn't. They were just a ragtag bunch of guys who used to play music. So they never got with that side of things before. You understand? So when the issue came up, when you needed to get with the business side of things, they were lacking, and that's why they didn't win it. Amongst other things, I should say. You get what I'm saying? But yeah, that had something to do with it. So then there was muddy-coded into a position by these other guys. And I remember for the first few months of Choice, they just played bare rare groove tapes and bare lick tapes that was doing it, and bare the tunes that was doing it of the day. So everybody was tuning into that because they weren't hearing these tunes. You get what I'm saying? Then they came on with their foolishness. So I know these people. They use us. They use us. They use people. They use people because they're playing the white man's game. They're playing the twisted, corrupted game. You understand? And then they're corrupting little children. When they didn't want to have ragga, remember when they didn't want to play ragga on the radio stations? Do you remember at that time?
Okay. Did you know that Birmingham Choice doesn't exist no more? One of the reasons was because they wasn't playing reggae in the daytime up there. They was playing
Really?
Yeah.
I remember the argument, blood, when... I didn't know that. What? So it's off the air? Birmingham Choice is off the air?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know, because I remember the argument when they were saying that we want reggae in Birmingham because they like them one play soul. You see how they switched up the London community, right? Remember the days when it was always soul and rare groove, and they switch up the London groove to bare imported music, and they don't give one black man in England a chance unless he's already signed by some major record company and he's a slave. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what happens when you look at Kelly LaRock. She's a slave. You get what I'm saying? You'll get given X amount of money up front. You get what I'm saying?
Kelly LaRock didn't even make it, so the record companies dropped her.
Yeah, I know. She never made back the money, so they had to drop her.
But they didn't put enough money into her, neither. You see, a lot of what people don't understand, you see, for these tunes to get a kind of airplay, a lot of backhanders have to be passed around.
All right, let me just stop you a minute there, D. What, so the listeners can know, you're listening to the man, who founded the Saxon with Musclehead, the internationally known English, the baddest English reggae sound, yeah? So what he's saying, while we're listening in that, he's in the music business and has been in the music business for a number of years. You understand what I'm saying? So he knows a lot about the music side of things. Go to, Blad.
Yeah, you see, in the music world, no matter what anybody wants to say, you can have the best tune. Because look, when you're in the studio and you're making a record, you're making a number one record when you're in the radio station. When you're in the recording studio, every song you go in there to record, you make it to be a number one. Yes, it is a number one in the studio. Yes, it is a number one when you get out of the studio. Yes, it is a number one when you get it into the pressing plant. But then you need the marketing power. Now, the marketing power, a lot of people don't understand. A lot of these artists made it big. Even Maxi Priest, they have big mafias behind them, the drug cartel behind them, and that's how they go through the door. It's not no, yeah, well, it was a good tune. Yes, every tune's a good tune from in the studio. But if you haven't got some kind of mafia behind you to push you a little bit further, yeah, by they control the radio stations because, you know, it's one big family. They control the newspapers because it's one big family. Yeah. And they control the TV so that you can get into these TV shows. Because sometimes you've got to remember, shows are made up over 3 months. And some of these music shows, they know what's going to happen over the next 3 months. Your record might come up, and boom, you can get into that show. That means you must have some kind of power. Yeah. Now, the same way they're doing it with money, we could do it without money. Yeah. All it is have manpower. If we've got 40 people working on one record, one track, what we all believe in. Yeah, that track might not go number 1, but it can climb the walls. Yeah, because all it is manpower. Can you buy manpower? Sometimes I might know somebody in a place, you might know somebody in a place, Jews might know somebody in a place. So, you know, where it might really cost a bit of money, we could get it squeezed in. Maybe not get the right kind of way, but we can get it squeezed in. And why I can say this is because in 1990, I had a track out with Roger Robin, More Love, and I was working that tune on my own. And I don't know, something said to me, phone up this place. So I phoned them up. Yeah. When I phoned them up, they said to me, oh, your tune's just coming on the chart. It jumped past Janet Jackson and all that. I come in at 107 on the British chart. So now, for me to get it to go any further, I had to go and get a plugging company.
Pluggers, to get Radio 1.
Yeah, which you have to pay them weekly to get your tune up. I had to get a strike force, which they get pictures of you and they put it in all the record shops. They go around to all the record shops right around the country, all the chart-bound record shops, and try and give them all one record each. So they say, you can have this for the shop. When that record sells through the thing, it goes onto the computer, it goes up the chart. So a lot of times when you see these artists getting big as well, the records ain't actually making no money back, but it is scoring a point so that they can make an LP, and the LP will make back the money. So they might spend £300,000 or £400,000, to get the track up like a single. Then, for argument's sake, they might spend £300,000. Because you got to remember, corporate companies, they've got the money, so they can put that money in because they know when they spend 300,000, 600,000 on 2 singles, they're going to spend another 600 on the LP, but they're going to make back 2.2 million. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we're here saying, we're not getting this, we're not getting that. What it is we've got to do, when we put a track out, we've got to get all of our friends together and say, look, do you really believe in this? Do you think this track can happen?
Wankers don't.
Sorry. If you do, well, let's come on, then let's go and let's do this thing and let this thing happen. I mean, it's great that the Pirates play tracks, but the Pirates, like you said earlier on, they play all the negative tracks, so it overpowers a good track. And because Choice is playing the same negative tracks, then, you know, Choice is playing, I mean, between 7 o'clock in the morning and 7 in the evening, Choice pays you for the records that they play. And if you notice, then this is why what you're saying about these negative ragga artists, it's true. You see what time they come on? 7 o'clock in the evening. And the show starts when the wages stops getting paid. But between 7 in the morning and 7 in the evening, it's like positive time, and that's money time. So it's just Americans that's collecting the royalties. So there's a lot behind it what people don't really see. But one thing what I want everyone
sorry, if I could just ask you a question. So why do you think that the ragga music is so influential, and why do you think it's made such an impact on our industry then, if that's the only way it's been coming across?
Okay, all right, look at it this way. I'm going to speak of my brethren and what's in the business, like Shabba's my brethren, and Shabba's first big track in Britain, I mean, he had tunes what was happening before these ones, but when they started to recognize Shabba is when he done I'm Bad, we
Yeah.
Then after that he done If I'm Unwanted, make him feel don't panic.
Yeah.
Then he done after that Extra Naked.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
And Triller Lord a Girl somewhere in there?
Yeah, but that was up the road.
Yeah,
But
okay.
just check the mentality behind the tunes.
Yeah.
Then before Shabba came along, we had Ninja Man and Tinga Stewart. Very good tune. But the tune what bust Ninja Man is a dead That was what bust him in the dance hall. Then he done a tune with Tinga Stewart.
Yeah.
And it was going alright. But the tunes what he was doing wasn't really happening for him because that's not how he cracked it at first. So he said, I'm the original fronty gun gorgon.
The gun man. I'm the original fronty gold teeth gun gargan.
We're going back to 87 now.
Seen.
Yeah, so you can see.
So
After that now, everybody what came along behind Ninja Man wanted to talk the most wickedest gun tune, yeah? And then after Ninja Man came Shabba, and everybody wanted to talk the slackest thing after Shabba. So we was filtered with that for 4 or 5 years.
All right then. Okay. Just to hold you there. So what make it so prevalent? What made it so attractive then? Gun tunes and sex tunes in the mentality of black people.
Because in the dance halls, remember, before we had radio stations, the dance halls, the sound systems were the most important part of the music business, the reggae business. This is why Saxon had to come off the road for a little while because I couldn't get involved in this inside juggling and outside. Because if anybody knows Saxon, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, Papa Levi used to get away with a few of the little cyclones, but my mum used to pull him up and say, yo, Levi, you can't touch that people's picnic. Don't do that. Don't do that. So eventually he toned down that filthy side of him. We try to keep it positive all the time. When all this, the dub plate thing came in that, you know, when we was playing dubs, it was like, that was a special. Now everybody plays the same thing. But what you got to realize, it's a money thing now. It's not a thing where the artists are making more money off of specials than they're making off of their records and off of their stage shows. Yeah. So they don't. Some of the artists don't even want to come on tour no more because they're making more off of their specials. Now because.
Specials meaning their dub plates and what they do for one individual sound. They might call the sound's name out or something like that. Yeah.
But it's not a special no more. It's just a dub plate because everybody's got it. Just the names change.
Yeah.
So we've been feeded with this sort of thing, and now everybody watches what the next man does. So Caperton will do something, and then now everybody wants to do the same thing as what Caperton is, and everybody wants to sound like they're the most serious in what.
Well, we was talking about this the other night. Bandwagonists.
Yeah.
So there's an element then, yeah. You'd agree. There's an element then of what is that? What is that mentality where everybody wants to follow? What is that then? Is that a universal mentality, or is it a particular slave mentality come out of Africa? Or is it then?
What it is, yeah. You see, a lot of people what do these things is what they're more intelligent than that. Because when you speak to them off the record, yeah, they talk a lot more intelligent than what they talk on the record.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
so who are they feeding then? What are they trying to?
They're feeding the ignorance because it's the ignorance what jumps up and says, hold up your hand if you don't, and hold up your hand.
If you don't like Batman and all that.
And go bye-bye in the air and it's Versace or Machino. They say, hold up your hand if you don't like Batman. Pam, he's got Versace on. Yeah.
So what feeds that? That's what I'm trying to point at because there's a man that's been in a dance hall for many years. What feeds that egotism?
Let me tell you this. You see, when it comes down to the lyrics, a lot of people ain't even listening to the lyrics sometimes. The rhythm tracks then are so...
hypnotic?
Yeah. Forget what is being said on top of the rhythm. Sometimes it is what's said on top of the rhythm, but a lot of times it's the rhythm track. Because if you really listen to what somebody contradict themselves on within 3 minutes, you know what I mean? So I don't want to be sticking pins in nobody. I just want like people
of course.
I want people that say they want to put out a record or say they got a studio in their bedroom or whatever. Just understand, you can put 12 records out tomorrow. If you don't work on that record, it's not going to happen. If you don't have a medium, a dance medium like what they have, to go on the stage in front of 10,000 people and get the crowd going mad, Yeah, your record isn't going to get the underground noticeable. But once you've got the underground noticeable, your tunes will sell a bit easier. Yeah, so you've got to have the underground, or you've got to have the overground, which means the people in the office. I mean, the office could be in your bedroom, and 10 people can be in this room, and you've got a chart of 15 people you're going to call for the day. Now, there's 10 people in that room, and you all phone different people, but you all get back to that same one person in that one day. So if you phone Ernie, 10 different people phone Ernie and ask him about one track, then that sticks it in Ernie's mind, and this is what plugin is all about.
Ah, seen. Got ya.
You understand?
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's to get into the top 75 plugin a tune, it's like 15, 18 grand. Once you get in the top 40, it's 20 grand a week. But if you've got the manpower and you've got a few people that know these people, have these people's telephone numbers, yeah, and you can share it around those 10 people, and all 10 of you for a whole week call these people and say, so what do you think of the track? We've sent it to you, blah, blah, blah. That means one person, you sent them 10 tracks, so they don't know you're all in the same office, yeah? So you send that person 10 tracks, 10 of the same tracks, and you phone him every day for a week. That means you get 70 calls for the week, and he's now into his head.
See, so that's so it's like a massaging of the charts then.
Yeah,
so,
that's how it works.
Right. So that's in big money, right? But what I wanted to look.
And then the next thing. Now this is how Maxi Priest's first #1 tune came about.
Maxi Priest's.
Yeah.
First #1 tune came about,
yeah,
like.
What was it called again? Troll McCorn.
Yeah. You never call no phone. If you want to pick it up, that is your business.
Me, Levi, Tipper, and Colonel. Yo, we drove right round the place buying that tune every day. Yeah, man, that's how
You cheated, mate. You cheated.
No, but I'm telling you how the business goes.
See. No, I'm just pulling your leg, but I know what you're saying.
I'm making sure that people know whatever I'm talking about is something what I've done already. I'm not saying something what I haven't done.
See?
People talk about things what they haven't done.
That's right. That's right.
I've
Bang on,
done
blood.
these things.
Bang on.
I've done these things.
Yeah.
To make sure that, you know, we all sat down and said this is how we're going to do it.
You drove all around?
Yeah, drove around the streets. And when we went into record shops where they didn't have the record, we would leave the money and say, could you order it for us?
Wow.
A lot of the places where we ordered the tunes as well, because sometimes we done it out in the country when we was coming back from dances and that. We didn't even go back to collect the tune.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but we paid for it.
See.
So the
money
tune was ordered through. Well, we was playing out every night, 7 nights a week. So
So you was all over the place.
So we was all over the place. So we was taking the money from the dances and putting it back into what we was doing.
Yeah.
You know, to bounce off that, to bounce to somewhere else.
Yeah.
You get me?
Yeah.
So all we've got to understand, if we want to have a hit tune, let's stop thinking closetly, keeping our stupid ideas to ourselves. Realise that we've got to sit in a room with our friends, you know, and ask our friends, do you believe in this tune? Because if you do, give us a hand. We're not working, so let's work on this. Because when this thing bangs, we've all got a job. Then people will come and employ you. Half of these people what are working in these plug-in companies have never been to a party. They went to college in London. But they know how to use the telephone. They know how to take somebody to dinner.
Expenses and stuff like that. That's bang on. So it's organisation. So you're talking about organising yourself properly, no matter what. Whether it's a Sunday school or a Saturday school or whatever. In order to do that, you need to make sure that you have somebody, like you said, who's interested in the same thing as you, and you stick together with the commitment. Because sorry.
Right now, me and some man have sat down here, and we've said this is why, if you notice, there ain't no new saxophone tunes out there.
No.
We've took a pause now, and said, right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to set a film company up. Now, we're going to set a film company up, but before we start going for films, we're going to make videos for our records.
Right.
And it's a consultant with quite a few people what's going to do it, and everybody knows a little bit. Because, you know, over the years, you meet people in different trades, and loads of people that just come out of university, they know about the latest cameras and that, but they're not getting no jobs. So we're saying, right, well, let's all pull together. And if we've got 50 quid a week, we're going to all put it into the hat until it's enough so we can buy the cameras and we can buy whatever. Then when we've got what we've got, you know, we'll do what everybody else is doing, but we're going to do it with a positive mind.
Yeah,
That is what's happened. Things are being done, but not with a positive mind.
Yeah. It's been too economically driven and not with the energy of positivity behind it.
Yeah. So, and another thing, what we've got to really understand is, see, the people around us sometimes are not really for us. This is why you've got to say to somebody when you put your track out, do you believe in this track?
Yeah.
When I put out that tune, Meaning of Life, the Be Can Be, this is 1988, you see, when I was giving that tune to, like, the DJs, I'm saying, listen, I've got a record there. If you don't like it, don't.
Well done, you're doing well. Even if they didn't think I would do as well as I'm doing, or progress as fast as I'm progressing, they was thinking of ways to topple me down. In other words, kill me. You know, like the theory about the crabs in a barrel.
In the bucket, yeah.
And one attempts to get out of the barrel, and the next one, what is done there, instead of helping that crab get out, pull it down and say you're not going.
Yeah, I get ya. Okay, so they wanted to kill you because you're getting somewhere in your boxing.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is them crabs in the barrel what represent us. Who put them crabs in the barrel? That is the true enemy. So, in a way, my own color, my own race, attempted to eliminate me, but in a way, I know my own race are not to be blamed fully. The distraction thinking what has been put amongst us has been put by whoever put us in the barrel. In other words, the European system that has profited highly from the enslavement of all our foreparents, the people from Africa, what I say is the motherland of all lands.
But hear what I'm saying now, yeah? I'm saying this, right? It doesn't matter, you know, people say you're saying about the crabs in the bucket, right? You got a blast, yeah? You got a blast because as far as your understanding, you was doing something in your life, yeah? And certain man never do like it, yeah? And they blast you for that. They wanted to waste your life because you was doing something with that. You understand? Right, so what I'm saying is that it isn't about who put us in the bucket and rare, because Bosnia's got things going on, Europe has had things going on. Anywhere in the world that you find, you'll find that people have, it's not about race, because black, you know, you've got the Richardsons, you've got the, you can find bad in any race. You understand what I'm saying? And people who waste people nonchalantly, yeah?
But I will put another idea your way. You know, when you put up many dominoes.
Dominoes, yeah.
And you tip them in a line.
You tip one and the rest fall over.
Yeah. We need to track down who was the first one that has caused us to fall on top of each other.
But blood, nah.
Are you saying we're not meant to look on that? We must.
I'm saying.
In a way, you know, I was speaking to an African woman, and she was saying something similar to what you were saying about we're fighting amongst each other, and we should only sort out amongst each other. Yeah, but the way we can sort out amongst each other is kind of recognizing the real enemy.
The real enemy is yourself. There ain't no other enemy. There is no real enemy. What are you talking about? Listen.
made me an enemy to myself
Listen.
Who's made me an enemy
Listen.
to myself?
Listen, alright then, let's look at this, yeah? What happens in life is that you get put in a position, yeah? Something happens in your life, whether you're a slave, whatever, yes? Something happens, whether you're orphan, whether you're disabled, whether you're crippled, yes? Something happens. It doesn't matter whose fault it is, yes? Right, so we agree on that. Then, from the point of view, whether you're going to be a twisted individual in your wheelchair, or whether you're going to be a twisted individual with your mum leaving you, or you've been abused as a child, you know what I'm saying? Whether you're going to end up being a twisted individual is about you. That's about you. That ain't about who done it to you. That's about what do you do with it after it's done to you. So you can't keep blaming the Europeans. You can't keep saying the Babylon are dead. You can't keep doing that because that hasn't gotten us nowhere over 400 years. So why would we need to keep doing that today? We now know.
So you let me get you correct. So you're saying that each of us are to be blamed for our position in life. Are you saying that, brother? Are you saying each of us are to be blamed for our position in life?
Yep.
The enslaved race?
Yep.
Yeah.
Plain as that. What do you want me to say? As simple as that. We're all to be blamed. It doesn't matter. You can't keep blaming your father before 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 your father. You're here now. What are you doing about it? Ain't about keep saying, oh, it's the white man. We can listen. Let me just finish another point, right? We can look at the issues. The reality is that we're not controlling the media. We can look at that. We can look at the reality that the Jews control the television. We can look at that. We can look at the reality of what's causing us to be in this situation. But to say it's them causing the situation, to me, is like a cowardice way of looking at things. It's like letting it continue that way because you won't look at yourself and do something about it for yourself.
I'm attempting to uplift myself, but first I must recognize the true enemy, and the true enemy is the leaders of the system. It's not even the soldiers. What they get to do the dirty work or get certain ideas to come to be, but I'm talking about the leaders. You don't get me on that one.
Listen. If you get a virus, right, which is the worst virus? The AIDS in the beginning or the AIDS later down? Which is the worst virus? The beginning AIDS or the later AIDS? Is it the AIDS in Africa or the AIDS that have come to England? Which is the worst AIDS? There is no worse AIDS. Whatever you get is what you're getting. There is no bad or worse.
We must. But
you can't keep saying that there is an enemy. No, don't get me wrong, there is an enemy. But what I am saying is that you cannot blame the enemy. That's what I'm saying.
We must not recognize the true enemy.
I didn't say there wasn't an enemy, and I didn't say you can't recognize the enemy. What I'm saying is that you cannot keep blaming these people. That's what I am saying. I'm saying blame yourself. You know what I'm saying? Are you clear about that?
I would say the Dynamo effect. We've forgotten who was the first person that pushed.
We don't need to remember who was the first person. We don't need to remember that. What we need to know is where the people are at now.
We need to recognize that and of course seek methods of getting ourselves out of this position.
Yeah, but we know,
we
know, Star.
We choose this position what we're in.
We know, though. You're saying that we must recognize everybody who's been to school knows that. Listen, everybody that's been to school knows about slavery, right? So that's all you need to know. The rest from that point on, you need to take hold of yourself. I don't like
the full.
Sorry?
The full information about it.
It doesn't really start. Really, you don't need the full information about AIDS to know not to get it. You just need to know enough about what it does.
Yeah, I found to put forward some advertisements for people to come along, enslaved people to come along and attempt to break out of the enslavement which we're in. Yeah,
Star, this is what I'm saying. You see, you're back. You see, you're back on that, blood. You're back on the separation. You're gonna deal with your particular organisation and how everybody's enslaved except your particular organisation. I personally ain't with that.
No, we're all enslaved.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But your organisation doesn't make it no better. Any organisation, we're dealing with the holisticness, blood.
By talking about some of the issues what relate to us, it does, in a way, it will slowly give our mind some way of tackling the issues.
But blood,
by not even talking about them, not looking upon them. In other words, we're to blame. We're the only ones to blame, and we're in other words, to sort out a puzzle, we need to look at the true enemy.
You back to that. I'm not saying that you can't look at them, blood. We're living amongst them. Listen. I'm getting a sign here that we need to cut you off because you've been on long. But listen. Listen. You understand. You said you need to know. That's fine. We know that. This show is about that. Genesis is about that, right? But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, you got to look into yourself. We had D-Rowe come up. He says this. He says, listen to me. Listen to me. He says, I've got to help me. And in helping me, I help other people. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the way forward. The way forward isn't keep looking at what the enemy's done to us. That's not the way forward, because we've been looking at what they've been doing to us for 400 years. We need to understand who the true enemy is, yes? But we know that.
We've been looking at what the enemy has done, but there has not been anything really done about it. Well, some of us have looked upon it, but to look is not just good enough. We've got to do some action as well.
So, that's fair enough, right? But what I am saying is that until you get to a point, right, where people understand that holistically across the board, right, that means that not everybody's going to come to your organisation. That means that all the other efforts that you need, is such as your newspapers and your music.
I don't follow no religion, I tell you.
I didn't say religion, I said your organisation that you said that you're a member of, right, which is the African Liberation Organisation or whatever, yeah? So I'm saying that's the same thing. All organisations, it's about separating from somebody else and saying we've got the answer. Nobody has the answer. What we need to do is...
I've not got the real answer.
Nobody's got the real answer.
But getting the people to come along and talk about it, you can be sure we will find the answer.
Well, what are you doing now, then? What are you doing now? You're now talking about it. What's the callers before doing now? They're talking about it. You get what I'm saying? So this is another medium. This is another way of doing it. You get what I'm saying? Not that you have the way or we have the way, but as soon as we... You see, it's about... What I understand anyway, it's about like airwaves. It's about letting the... you know, like when you let ragga penetrate the air, you get this particular gun culture. When you let love protect the air, you get the swinging 60s. So when you start to permeate...
is to get the enslaved mind to open and begin to look for methods or ways.
Whose idea? What idea? The idea or your idea?
The idea is what the system, the European system.
So what am I doing? So what are we doing on Genesis then? What are we doing on Genesis?
Put it this way.
What are we doing?
Way, we're all enslaved.
What are we doing?
Rely upon the electricity you rely on the electricity to give you the power to put out your airways. And
that's right.
So in a way, it's the system that provides that. If they turned off the electricity, there'll be no radio and there'll be no hot water to wash your skin. No, if they turn the
but listen. Yeah, but that's long though. That's long. What you're saying is long, because that's obvious. You know what I'm saying? Any system, anywhere you go, even if you go to
really
Africa.
Look upon the issues, but we're still enslaved.
Yeah, but listen though. I know what you're saying. But you're not listening to me, though, Star. You have to listen as well.
Enslaved by the system?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter about who's got who's turning on your electricity. Because if you're in Africa, somebody's got to turn it on. If you're in Jamaica, somebody's got to turn it on. You get what I'm saying? That's not a major issue.
It's the European system.
But blood, you're living in it. You were born in it. What are you talking about?
We were born in it, but original first foreparents was not.
Listen. I know because I can't go on because we've got somebody coming for the next show, so I can't go on. You'll have to come back next week.
Sign off and look on that issue, and maybe the people, the enslaved people, will tell you what they thought about.
But that's what you're doing. That's what people do on this show. But what I'm saying is
maybe you will see people personally, and they will tell you what they thought about the issue.
Fair enough, but what I'm saying, this is what I'm saying.
Peace and love and unity amongst the enslaved family. That's you and me, and not for we still.
Alright then, peace.
Okay.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, you can blame who you want. Like, that was King Dawood, like, he got shot in his head because somebody said that, the geezer, like, they begrudged his movement through the community and rare. So there's somebody's like took a gun and shot him in his face, lost his eye and whatever, yeah? So what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, I don't care when I say all rare about the real enemy. I've already been there. The enemy is all of us. You understand? There is no specific white enemy out there anymore. The enemy is now ourselves. If the person is helping, if the white people are helping to perpetuate it, then fair enough. The system has to exist. Anywhere you go, like D-Rose said, that when he's talking about plugins and everything that you do, which causes momentum and allows momentum, has an organized body behind it. Your body is organized. It gets invaded by viruses or diseases, and your body sends out soldiers called antibodies. That's how it works. It's never going to be no different. So you can't turn. Can we take that? Yeah, right. So we're going to take one. We've got Cookie in the house, and we're going to take this one last call, yeah, and see what's. Yeah, hello. Can we take your name and your number?
Hello.
I'm sorry, your name and where you're calling from.
This is Jules and Doctah X on Genesis 91.6. Thanks for calling.
Hi. I can't really hear you very well actually now.
Okay.
This
is that better?
A little bit.
Okay.
This is Taiba calling from South London. Okay. And basically I'm just ringing up to impart some information about single parents. From time to time you mention the situation with single parents, and I was wondering whether or not any of the listeners are aware of a single parent club that's called Share My World. And if not, then I'd like to give some information about that club now.
Go ahead.
Okay, as I said, it's a single-parent club called Share My World. The coordinator and the founder of that club is a woman called Opal Romeo. The club has been up and running for about 3 years now, and you can contact her on this number, which is...
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's 07961 316 312.
What is it again?
07
yeah
961 316 312.
Okay, great.
And there's a membership fee, which is £16 per year or £10 for 6 months.
Okay.
And what it is they issue a monthly magazine, and you can meet up with other single parents.
Okay.
They provide social activities and, basically just impart information.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Thanks a lot. What's your name again, sorry?
Taiba.
Okay. Thanks a lot for that input there, yeah?
Okay.
Alright then, thanks.
Alright, bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, Doctah X, we've had some very interesting calls. King Darwin has always got a contribution to make. On the last caller, thanks for that information about the Single Parents Club. And being a single parent myself, the best way to actually stop being a single parent is find yourself a nice, fine black man. A good one. Or a woman if you're a man. I don't want to be sexist on
last call. This is a very
last call.
Yeah, it's my brother Liam, Edge Road.
Oh, hi.
How you doing?
Yeah, fine, thanks. What's your contribution, quickly?
My contribution, and I'll be very quick. Both the Doctah X.
Yeah, he's here.
Doctah X and King Darwin both had a valid point.
Yes.
both in the way, because Doctah X is saying that we are our own enemies because we ain't doing what needs to be done.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
But Team Doe is also right, because the enemy is still our enemy because they're still doing things that keep us oppressed. They're still withholding information, and they're still coming up with diseases to kill us off.
Yes.
So you're both right.
Yes.
Yeah, we're the enemy, and so are they.
Yes.
Alright, that's my point.
It's a paradox.
Alright, quite Harry.
Excellent. Listen, thanks very much. That's quite nicely. It's rounded up the programme today because, I mean, we've all got valid points. And we've all got valid points to make. I can't actually take any more calls. Hang on, I'm just going to say thank you for calling through to Genesis, but I'm afraid the show is now over.
Oh, I had a valid point.
Who is it? Who is it? Oh, he's gone. Okay. Oh, that's a shame. I'm really sorry about that. You see, that's the way it goes. That's the reason why we try to keep the calls brief. But sometimes it's so hard to do it, and to cut them off as well. It's not that we don't want to. We just want to be fair to everybody. So it's not about being rude. Yeah, we'll try and keep it more succinct next week. But there was just a couple points that I wanted to make briefly before I quickly go, because I know Cookie's just lining up his selection ready to go, smiling with his handsome self. And Doctah X as well. I'm very privileged to be in a studio. So for all them single mothers there, get down to the studio right now. No, really. Sincerely, I do feel that the enemy is not only within us, but also around us. And I have to make that clear, because some people are not your enemies until they're socialised into being your enemies. So therefore, the socialisation has to come from somewhere. So I think it's all about really, really checking the kind of things that influence you and the things that you allow to influence your children. Like he was talking about the Nintendo 64, King Darwin, and the caller before that was talking about other issues and the way in which we view ourselves. The caller before that was talking about something completely different. We've had so many different calls on different issues, but I think that just to summarise it is all about self-love and not hatred. So many things and emotions and attitudes and death, particularly death, is caused by a hatred. People go and fire a gun because they hate that person. They don't even know why they hate that person, but they've been given reason to. And it's problems. Go ahead. It's problems all around. So I'd like to say that we need to promote love more. There's a lot of the times where you'll be in a relationship and you're with your man and you might have a little dispute, because everything starts from, like I say, the little microcosm called home. You know, and you might have a dispute with your boyfriend or whatever. Before you leave that house, make sure you and him kiss and you cuddle and you make it up, because there's nothing worse than being with your man. You're not on good terms, and you go out and then he's saying goodbye to everybody and kiss everybody else goodbye, and him still now kiss his woman. That's like a disrespecting that's going on. So we need to start from that within the family. We need to respect our parents as well, as much as they demand and command that respect. And also monitor the kind of influences that we allow ourselves to be exposed to. On that note, I'm going to say goodbye. It's been a very positive and informative show as per usual. I should be back on air with you hopefully next week Sunday, all being well, at the same hour of between 11 and 2 in the morning. I think Senator B's doing a show perhaps at another time, but I know Cookie's definitely coming on. Philip Level's due to come on between 8 and 10. Tony T between 6 and 8, between 10 and 12, OJ and Briggy, and I think there's an RB with 45 7-inch. Yeah, 45 selections, sorry about that. That's between 12 and 3 o'clock in the morning. So do stay tuned to 91.6 Genesis. You know it's a Black Power station and we're always helping each other and trying to keep it positive. Some very slack lyrics the other day, by the way. I don't know who was playing them, but I jumped in my car and I heard it, and I know it was on Genesis, so whoever was doing it, I was not amused because my daughter was in the car. Okay, anyway, outside of that, peace and love to all the presenters and all the positive stuff that we're all doing. Keep it locked. Keep it locked. Did you hear what I just said? Yeah. Did you hear what I just said? Listen, I'll take that back. I didn't finish my sentence. I meant to say do the right thing. Make the right choice, but it came out wrong. See you later.
Yeah. So I just got that call for Taiba again, saying about the single parent club is really for men and women, not just for single women. And the number again is 07961 316 312. Yeah, so she said she tried for a long time to get through. We'll try to make the calls a little bit shorter because it's like rare, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, thanks for your contribution there in terms of like balancing that out in terms of right and right. But no, I'm not trying to be right, and I don't want anybody to think that I'm trying to be right. It's all about like making valid contributions that make sense and that can be, you know, sat over dinner and thought about, or even in your bar thinking, that makes sense, and what can I do with the rest of my life to change or help a situation? You get what I'm saying? That's what it's all about at the end of the day. And whether or not, you know, somebody feels they're right or they have the answer, that's their own particular melee. I don't think I got the answers, but what I think Genesis is in place for, and this show is in place for, is to help people to kick out ideas, people listening and thinking, yeah, that guy has a point, and then maybe that can help them to help kick out some of the negativity that we father and foster and mother in our communities. You get what I'm saying? So each week it'll be different. Each week it'll be equally as topical and equally as debatable, but maybe at the end of a year or whatever, we'll come up with, you know, something will come out of it, because this ain't about just talk, no action. But obviously, like a child, it has to go through its stages. I don't know what's gone before, but this is another stage. That's all I know, and we're all about that, yeah? So peace, and make sure you spread that love out there, yeah? Because that's what it's all about. And now Cookie's on, and he's going to do his thing. Sorry.
Quite happy. All of a sudden, things aren't going right. You're suddenly black. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, I do.
Michael Jackson even, very confused man.